You're listening to the Live Out Loud podcast with River Wynn and Michelle Flamer.
Hi, River.
Hello, Michelle.
You're back.
I'm back. Yay!
The crowd goes wild. The podcast is a flurry of fun. Oh my
Yeah,
God.
nice
So
to be back.
I know it's really nice to have you back. I mean, we are so lucky. We have the coolest people and friends ever who are like, whatever you need, however long she's
Mhm.
gone, whatever you need from us. I'm like, sweet.
Yeah,
So
we have
it's
a really cool circle of people, don't we?
We're really lucky. So let's tell the pod what's been happening with you.
Yeah, I took some time off because I was just out of spoons.
Can you tell people what spoon? I mean, I did a quick little blurb on
Mhm.
spoons as you heard, but in your own words, because I think it's important.
The way I explain it to my kids, because it's a concept I use with my kids a lot, the way I explain it to them is
Because it's
you
still a
start.
new term.
Yeah, it's
A
it's
lot
been
of people
around
still
for
haven't
a
heard
couple
it.
of years, about 5 years or ish, or that's how
Yeah.
long I've been aware of it. But it's been around in the mental health for a while. But the way I explain it to my kids is that you start every day with a certain amount of spoons, and each spoon can go towards one activity, like one energy output. So you have your socializing spoon, you have your doing your chores spoon, you have your getting dressed, you have like all of these spoons go to different tasks. And as you use them up, you run out of spoons. And by the end of the day, you might be completely out of spoons, or you might have some left for different tasks. And those spoons, for me, ran out.
So I wonder, like, I have to look up, like, why spoons? I wonder why they use that
It's just a fun
terminology.
concept. Like, I think for a lot of people, it's just a visual and just like
Like
a
a
concept that
dishwasher
just
kind
can
of
like,
thing. Like
yeah,
you
like,
keep putting the spoons in the dishwasher and then you're out
yeah,
of spoons.
yeah, yeah. It's just a visual
Mm-hmm.
concept, and it works. And my kids totally get it.
Hmm.
They love it. It works great for them. Like my daughter, who's 9, will just, Mom, I'm out of spoons right now for friend time. Mom, I'm
Oh,
out of spoons right now for school. So she'll
aw.
tell me and just make a distinction of like what spoon she's out of.
That's really cute,
And it
actually.
helps. And it
Yeah.
helps me too. So yeah, I was running out of spoons because when the start of school approached for the kids, I knew that we were going to have 2 to 3 really chaotic weeks as our schedules were changing, as they were adjusting to being back in school and that schedule. My son started kindergarten, so now I have 2 kids in full day school and grade
Oh,
school,
God.
and extracurriculars were starting. So there was just a lot shifting. And at the same time, I was starting my new job. And so that was a big change. So going into all of that, I just knew that I was going to need to preserve my energy as much as possible,
Yeah.
as much as possible. So I didn't run out of spoons entirely and
Yeah.
just be unable to function or
Hmm.
be regulated or stay grounded. So when I know that I'm headed into a chapter, whether it's 2 weeks or it's 2 months, where I'm going to really need to pour my energy into very specific things like getting my kids into the first couple weeks of school, then I clear everything else off my plate so I can just focus on those things.
Yeah, that makes so much sense. And how are you feeling this morning?
I feel great. I feel great because we got through the first 2 weeks of school starting and my new job starting, and we're back onto a routine and a schedule, and we made it.
Whoop, whoop. You made it.
Literally Thursday evening after dropping my kids off to their dad, I was like, we made it. Hey, I
What
can
was
record now.
what's that cute song? Hey, look, we made it.
I don't know that one, but yes, I made it.
Yeah.
It was just literally this energetic shift of, okay, I got through that. I can bring things back onto my plate now.
Yay. Well, I'm happy you're back. And What do you want to talk? What was the topic today? What do you want to chat about?
We were going to talk about trusting the process.
Yeah,
Trusting the process when
it's a
things
good
are
one.
unknown. Yeah. Yeah, we've talked about it a little bit before, but I know for me right now, it's kind of the theme
Mhm.
where in the midst of the kids starting school and then starting this new job and leaving my nanny job, there's just a lot of shifts happening and there's a lot of unknowns. I
Mhm.
don't know what the future is going to look like as I'm shifting through these changes. And I'm having to just really trust in the knowledge I have that no matter what comes my way, I'm going to be okay.
Yeah.
But I've built that trust muscle.
Yeah.
And
You think there's tons of people walking around just thinking, I don't know if I'm going to be okay or not.
yeah,
Mm.
yeah. I mean, I think back to when I was first getting divorced and I was so dysregulated because I was so anxious and freaked out about the
Mhm.
unknown.
Mhm.
And I was talking with a friend the other day about that feeling of feeling panicked
Mhm.
when you don't know what's going to happen next.
Mhm.
And you just get so uncomfortable in your body and your brain, and it spirals you. And
Mhm.
that feeling, that fear of the unknown keeps people from moving forward a lot of times.
Mhm.
The unknown is so scary that they won't take action because their
Yeah.
entire system is like, I can't handle that. And a lot of those big life choices, like divorce, are so scary because there is so much unknown. You don't know what's going to come next. You don't know
Mhm.
what's going to be on the other side of it.
Yeah, I mean, especially, well, something like that, like a divorce, like a really big kind of shift or adjustment that's coming down, like especially with divorce. It's not like you go through that or go to a school that says this is how you get divorced. Like there is so many unknowns. You are trusting whether it's a mediator or a lawyer or somebody within the process. I mean, you can Google as much as you want to Google about it, but at the end of the day, your circumstances are not necessarily Googleable. You know, I don't know if that's
Oh,
even,
yeah.
I don't think that's
Especially with
even a word,
divorce.
searchable.
Googleable.
Yeah.
But especially with divorce because every situation is so unique depending on
Yep.
whether or not you have kids or there's so many factors that go into it that it
Yep.
is truly hard to predict how
Yeah.
it's going to go. And along the way, like you may think that you knew your spouse really well, but then they become a different person in the divorce process. You
Yeah.
become a different person in the divorce process. And
Hmm.
emotions might be high and you can't predict the outcome of
Hmm.
things. So yeah, have building a trust muscle, building faith and a foundation of knowledge that no matter what you go through, no matter how uncertain the future is and how unknown it is, you're gonna be okay.
Yeah. It was, this past week has been very interesting because my ex-wife broke up with her boyfriend,
Mm,
and it was really interesting, like having her here at my place for like 6 nights. And Caden, it was like I could never have planned for that. And
mm,
luckily we get along totally fine. And but there was a moment, that first day when she came over and she's like, I don't know, what's gonna happen. And there's so much unknown. We still have a lot to talk about and things like that. Not me and her, but obviously her and her boyfriend.
yeah.
And it was, I could really see her struggling in those moments of like, I can't even see beyond the moment. It's like
Hmm.
I can't see beyond that. And I just said, well, you do know you're going to be okay. And she said, I know at some point I will be okay.
Hmm.
But she didn't trust anything in that moment. It was just waves of emotions, and I mean, rightfully so. And
Yeah.
it sort of happened in a weird, abrupt way, but, and I'm not gonna divulge anything, but there was no icky stuff on either side. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
it was just literally, it was just something that was just, you think you've seen or heard stuff and you feel like, knowing now more about trauma and reading about traumas and childhood traumas and having friends who have gone through trauma and dating people who have gone through trauma, you just don't know what you don't know until it like hits you in the face.
Yeah, and I think especially for, I mean, for everyone, but especially people who've been through pretty intense trauma,
Yeah.
you know, the unknown is really unsafe. It's really
Hmm.
unsafe. And the feelings that come through when you don't know what's going to happen next, um, it puts your body into such a state of chaos. Like your
Hmm.
nervous system just freaks out.
Yeah.
Um, and that is a really uncomfortable place to be. And
Hmm.
so most people have this, instinct to protect themselves. And a lot
Hmm.
of the parts inside of us, referring to internal family systems, the parts
Hmm.
are working really hard to
Yeah.
protect us. And so
Hmm.
that anxiety comes through and that fear comes through, and we get so stuck listening to those voices of, this is scary, this is bad. The world is basically ending, is what it feels like
Hmm.
in our systems in those moments. And one of the greatest lessons of my divorce has been the past 3 years, almost 3 years, is building that trust muscle
Hmm.
and seeing the evidence over and over and over again, and coming to trust it, that it's not the end of the world.
No.
That not knowing what's going to happen tomorrow or not knowing where I'm going to be 6 months from now, um, it's not the end of the world.
No, I think
And
I
it
think I think even with people who are super struggling, like really going through a very warranted, like whether somebody in their life, their life is facing cancer or,
Mhm.
and every issue, or not, I don't want to say it's an issue, but every challenge or obstacle in our lives, um, I really try to bring my friends who are really in those places, like, hey, back to center. Like, hey, let's
Mhm.
just focus. The only thing we know is literally the now.
Mhm.
Eckhart Tolle, said it best, the power of now, power of just being present.
Mhm.
And I find that to be the best space to be in when you don't know what's coming.
Yeah. And I'll give a little bit of a personal example right now.
Hmm.
Like I'm shifting from a job where I was being paid weekly, which was
Hmm.
wonderful, to a job that is more aligned with where the direction I want to be going in life.
Yeah.
And I get paid monthly with that job. So now I'm in this space where I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be making more money. That's so great. This job is so aligned, the schedule's great, all of that. But there's a lot of insecurity in the shifting process for me financially of like, okay, for the next month, things are going to be different. They're going to be
Hmm.
tight. It's going to be a struggle. I don't know exactly how I'm going to make it all work. This morning I was journaling and I wrote in my journal, I have no idea how I'm going to be paying all my bills this month.
Hmm.
No idea.
Because you don't
In
get
this
paid until like the first
Right.
or
And I am
whatever.
not in a chapter of life where I have like a saving, like a massive savings account that I can
Right.
rely on or anything like that. I'm a single mom who's living paycheck to paycheck right now. And I wrote in my journal this morning, I was like, I should be freaking out right now. In the past, I would be freaking out right now. I would
Mhm.
be upset. I would be crying. I would be calling my friends and being like, what the fuck do I do? And just like in
Right.
crisis mode about this. But I had this moment where I kind of laughed this morning about it because I was just at peace and I was like, I wrote in my journal, I said, I should be in this crisis space, but my body feels regulated. My emotions
Mm.
feel regulated. I feel at peace, and I trust that I am going to get through this and
Hmm.
be okay because the evidence shows me that I've always been okay in that way.
Yeah.
I've been in worse spots and made it through
Yeah,
just fine.
totally.
I'm going to be okay. Like I'm doing aligned action. I have this aligned job. Everything is going to work out. I don't know how, but I can't focus on the how. I just have to trust. And that is where the magic happens for me.
I've just never like getting paid by the month. I mean, I guess I did when I was working, when I had my own business and for those 14 years and I had a monthly retainer,
Mm.
but yeah, that first month is just the hardest month because you're not getting paid yet until you've gone through your 30 days. But I'm just surprised they don't do it by monthly, like every 2 weeks.
Everyone does it differently. It's a small organization.
Yeah.
They're new. I'm working at a preschool, a nature preschool. It's new and they're still
Mhm.
figuring things out. And it's really wonderful. I love it. The first week was absolutely amazing and I'm very excited about it. But, just shifting, and figuring those things out. But um, I have built this trust muscle
Yep,
where I know I'm going to be okay.
totally.
Can't tell you how, but I know I'm going to be fine.
You really will. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like, so I wonder where we learn this trust muscle. Is it something you think like that we, the collective, the pod, is everybody driving around right now just thinking like, do I have this muscle built up? Like, do you think it's a learned thing, like from parents, or do you think it's building confidence with it from within ourselves? Like, where do you think it comes from?
I think it's a learned resilience. And I
Hmm.
think that look now that I'm working with preschoolers,
Yeah.
I can look at the preschoolers I'm working with and I can tell you which kids have um more resilience already than some others,
How's
and
it
more
show up in kids?
emotional regulation than others because different kids are learning it in different ways from their
Mm.
parents and their environments. And
Yep.
the preschool I'm working with, we're a nature preschool. We're outdoors the entire school year.
Yeah.
And it is teaching these kids confidence in themselves and their abilities. It's teaching them resilience from day to day. It's teaching them to trust their bodies and trust themselves.
Hmm.
And not all kids receive that in childhood.
Yeah.
And I think that when you learn to trust yourself, to have confidence in yourself, there is a natural resilience that builds up. And I personally think that's the foundation for feeling okay no matter what happens, is that
Hmm.
natural resilience that builds that way. And not everyone receives that. So a lot of us, get into adulthood and maybe we've had chaotic childhoods. Maybe we had insecure, unstable childhoods. Maybe our parents were financially unstable. Um, there's a lot of chaos, and we didn't have that resiliency built up like that, or that natural confidence taught to us. This fearlessness, this acceptance that no matter what happens, you're going to be okay.
Hmm.
And we're having to learn that as adults.
Yeah,
And I
totally.
know for me, that's the case. I've had to unlearn a lot of things and then relearn that self-confidence and resilience
Yeah.
and teach myself that because no one was teaching me that as a kid. I was in survival mode most of my childhood, and that continued into adulthood. And now I've had to teach myself to do more than just survive. I've had to regulate my nervous system. I think that's a huge piece of it. If you have a regulated nervous system or the tools to help you like regulate yourself, you can more easily come back to that state of self-awareness of I am okay. I
Hmm.
am grounded. I can do this. I can take care of this. I will be okay. There's always a way to resolve things. There's always tools. There's always open doors. And it kind of takes you from that space of just being so head down, blinders on, chaos mode, negative spiral into a space of yeah, this sucks. And it's not spiritual bypassing about what's happening. It's an acknowledgement of, yeah, this sucks right now. This is hard right now. This is scary right now. But I can do hard things. I can do
Hmm.
scary things. And it doesn't define my value or my worth as a person. And I can get through it.
It's interesting because I'm sitting here thinking because it's an election year.
Mm.
And you know, it's such a it's the tone across both parties right now getting so close. We're in September. You know, it's like the big final push, and I'm so grateful I don't frickin' have cable because those political commercials literally kill me. They get so annoying at by that last couple of weeks of October because
Mm.
that final push towards November and vote, election day. And I have so many conversations over the last couple of weeks, and especially when I was up in Canada for a trade show,
Mm-hmm.
because they're like, you guys all want to always move up here, with your elections. And
Yes.
they're like making fun of us, it's like, oh, America, it's like, it's only 4 years, like, just get over it. Like, because they have, their person for
Yeah.
years because it's
Prime Minister,
part of
yes.
it's part of the British, of the royal through the royal family.
Yeah.
And so it's just so fascinating because there is very um this very emotional and turbulent feeling that goes through all of us, and each side feels it their own
Mm-hmm.
very unique way,
Yeah.
um where we don't know what's going to happen, because we all go back to that Hillary election and we still can't believe that she freaking lost. But
Yep.
everyone feels good about Kamala, but it's like, I don't know, we don't really know, and you kind of have to just
We don't know.
we'll be okay, right? It's like one of those
Yeah.
things you can't get in the weeds about because all you can do is your part, which is vote and tell other people why they should vote.
Yeah. And I think, I don't pay attention to the news either. I have one podcast that I listen to for my political updates, and I don't pay attention to a lot of it because it's really easy to get sucked into this mindset of chaos building. Like a
Mhm.
lot of what's being put out there is meant to make people feel like it is life or death scenario
Mhm.
politically on both sides. Doesn't matter what party
Oh,
you're voting for.
totally.
Um, and that puts us collectively in a very anxious space.
Mm-hmm.
And people do really stupid things when they're in that space, and they're not
Yeah.
kind to each other, and it creates a lot of unrest. So the reality is that, yeah, we don't know what's going to happen. We don't. But each one of us as an individual has to take a pause and take a deep breath and be grounded about it and focus on the facts, which politician aligns with what I would love to have as an individual and a citizen of this country, and then vote.
Yep.
Do your part. Show
Yep.
up.
That's it. I mean, that's all you can really do. So, I mean, the whole feeling, around that muscle of we're going to be okay.
We're
I
gonna
mean,
be okay.
it's not even about religion at that point. It's having faith in you and faith in ourselves, and really building that self-worth
Mhm.
and self-love um piece, because at the end of every day, it's really us that makes the decision for what we need to do for our children, what
Mhm.
we need to do for our aging parents, or, what we have to do to support a friend in need, or whatever that is. And I think you do have to have some type of faith in our own capacity of making the best possible decision for ourselves. But I will say that better decisions come out of staying present
Mhm.
than like we like to say sometimes, future faking ourselves, or,
Hmm.
falling in love with the idea, or, romanticizing the idea
Hmm.
of whatever outcome on whatever topic that you could possibly think
Yeah.
of.
Yeah. I tell my kids all the time, you have no control over anything external to you.
Hmm.
But what you can control is yourself.
Yeah.
And you can learn to regulate yourself. You can learn to listen to yourself and to know what your needs are and what your boundaries are. Like you have the power and the ability to take care of your internal world. And that's my goal as a mother to teach you
Hmm.
everything you need to take care of your internal world so that no matter what's happening around you,
Yep.
you got you.
Yeah,
You got you.
for sure. I think that's really all you can do. I mean, the book The Power of Now taught me that a long time ago, and I listened to it because I read it the first time, and I really do like reading it better because I have a hard time with his very, like, I don't know if it's Austrian or German, but it is a very thick accent, and
Mm,
sometimes I have a hard time listening to the playback. Plus I think I just take in things better reading, but um yeah, I think just staying present is really the key to, if you don't know what's going on, you don't know what's happening, you don't have a crystal ball, what? You know what I mean? It's like
yeah.
we like to say, what, the vortex, and
Yeah.
in the sense of just, it's just going to be what it is. But
When you surrender to not knowing what's going to happen
mhm.
next, when you surrender to not focusing on the how it's going to happen next, and you just be
I
present,
mean, I'm going to
it
say
makes
something, and
life so much more peaceful.
mhm. But I'm going to say something, and I'm sure some of our friends are going to razz me for it, but at the end of every day, it's like whatever's for us won't pass us by. And I like to really drive that home. And I have a feeling like, there's a few friends who are so sick of me telling them this. But then after I say that, they always go, God, I always need that reminder, because you're
Yeah.
right. Like, and I think it's trusting that if it's happening to us, it's really happening us for us, right? Like,
Hmm.
and if we feel rejected from whatever the issue, whatever the scenario is, like we're rejected in a job, or rejected in of being loved, or a relationship, we're rejected, we're rejected over, like, it's just redirection, right? Like it's
Yeah.
not really rejection, it's just redirection. So
Hmm.
I think you can't get into the weeds anymore with shit. It's like, look, is it happening today? If not, just like focus on the day.
Yeah. Yeah, because the how will make itself clear. And you're
Yeah.
gonna get little nudges along the way. I mean, just even as a personal example, like last example here is that, this new job I started, it's
Hmm.
so aligned with things that I have expressed a desire for a long time. Um, Collaboration, freedom, being in nature, working with kids. I love working with kids. Um, but also in the process of this job starting, I have now connected with some parents who we're having the conversation around, hey, this is for preschool, but there are some of us who would love to have a program like this for grade schoolers and
Yeah.
homeschoolers. And I'm connecting with some new parents that I haven't met before who have a similar vision for their kids and
Hmm.
aren't content with the public school system. And there's been some conversations, even in my first week of school, of like, how would that look maybe for some collaboration in the future on, schooling our kids in different ways? And that just is lighting me up. And I'm like, that is so cool because I
Hmm.
never would have connected with these people if I hadn't taken this job and gotten the nudge to take this job.
Yeah.
And that aligns so deeply with what I want for my kids. So I could get all caught up in the like, yeah, let's make this happen, you know? But right now I'm like, I'm gonna sit with it. I'm gonna see how that unfolds. Let it come to me. I don't have to worry about the how. If it's meant to be, it will happen.
It will 100% happen.
Yeah.
I think the surrender is still literally one of my favorite things. And it's not like, I mean, I kind of use it as a spiritual cop out a little bit because there's like this moment of, God, this just feels so heavy and like I don't know exactly where or what's gonna happen. But I just sort of look up and I'm like, all right, I know you've served me well so far. Like, all right, angels, guides, spirit,
Hmm.
universe, whatever you want to say. But it's like for me, it's just like, all right, I'm just gonna leave it to you. Like
Hmm.
it kind of just takes it all out of it. Like I can
Yeah.
cross that off my to-do list. It's like,
Yeah. It
let's
brings you to a
ruminate.
more
Like
peace.
there's a little box on my list. Ruminate about shit you can't even fucking deal. You know, like that doesn't even fucking
How
matter.
many of us, though, are like wasting so much of our time ruminating, stressing, worrying,
So many.
just stuck trying to figure out how it's gonna happen,
I think
what
the
we
big
need to do.
I think the biggest win just and it just popped in because we were just talking about ruminating. I think the biggest win for me over this last maybe 3 months has been that I'm not ruminating as much around things anymore because
Hmm.
whether it's because I'm trusting the fact that it's all going to work out for me no matter what.
Yeah.
And I feel really strongly about that and feel really good about it. So I don't know, that's just a trippier, like, one of our dear friends of the podcast, she is going through it and feels the anxiety of it all. And she's just ruminating. I go, and it's so interesting because I'm on the phone with her. And it's great when it's really a good friend. We can call each other out on shit
Yeah.
and it's all okay. It doesn't, it's like
Hmm.
you're ruminating again on, oh yeah, I am. How do I stop ruminating? I go, just let it go and literally
Takes
just have
practice.
faith in it.
Takes practice to see when you're ruminating, to see when
Mhm.
you're in that space
Oh,
and removing
girl,
yourself.
I had a PhD in rumination.
Same.
Fuck. And
Doctor of rumination.
it's crazy how much this like less fear around all of it, less stress, less anxiety. It's like, it's
Yeah.
great. You stop ruminating.
I was reading back through my journal from the last couple of years, just looking through. Occasionally, I read back and, just
Totally.
check it out. And um, so much of my journaling previously to like the last year, especially, was just so much anxiety.
Oh,
So much just like, and especially about dating. Like this person and over analyzing everything and writing
like
down
why
everything
the
I
fuck are
said. And,
you?
and,
Yeah, like
and now my journal is like, I had a great day. My kids and I did something really fun today. I feel really
three
good about
lines,
today.
3 lines in the journal page. All was good today.
My journal's like, well, today was really shitty, but I'm good. I'm good.
I know your journal's like, hey, what happened to our ruminating? I used to write so much more in me.
My hand is less
River,
cramped now.
River. Yeah, like it's like River, don't you have any issues you wanna write? Let's just have some issues.
My journal is such a positive place now. I
Oh, that's so
didn't.
sweet. I know. I mean, I think that's why I've stopped journaling for a while. Like I told you, I think when was it? Like a month ago? Is like
Yeah.
because I was talking to Sam and Sam's like, "Oh my God, I can't journal right now either." And I think there are these moments in time where you're going through more spiritual awakening because we're all constantly like, just like in a gym, like you do get stronger, but guess what you do? You add more weight. So you're constantly building, your body from that perspective. It's the same with journaling. It's the same with
Hmm.
like these muscles that we're building.
Yeah.
And it's just so fascinating because you're just like, oh, yeah, I used to really stress about these things. And now you don't even stress about them anymore. You're like, thank you, universe, for showing me and letting me level up. But,
It's
then,
fascinating when your lens changes.
it is pretty interesting. I love our lens changing. What
Had to
color
sneak
is
in
your
there.
lens right now?
Mine is very golden. Like everything feels golden right now.
Yeah,
Like
it
that
is.
sunset glow.
I know, it's pretty nice. I mean, yeah, I just know whatever's for us won't pass us by. Just like this
Exactly.
podcast.
Yep. I can
Well, I
trust
thank
that.
you. I like this. It's nice to have you back.
I'm glad to be back. It was
I
weird
know.
to be here.
I know.
Yeah.
Does it feel weird again? Like, oh, we're really talking.
Yeah.
And it's almost sweater weather. Sweater weather.
Well, it is sweater weather here. I'm wearing a
I
sweater.
know you're wearing a sweater today. Is it
Yeah.
cold in there or is it cold outside?
It's been a little bit cold today.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love Oregon.
Me too.
Anyways, I really appreciate this conversation per usual.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. And guess what? I appreciate our audience because they're
Yes.
awesome.
Yes.
They're a
You guys
bunch
are
of badass
wonderful.
mamma jammas.
Yes.
We're pretty lucky. So, anyways,
Go trust yourselves.
trust yourself and trust the universe. And get present. Just go present. Just
Present.
look what's literally 2 minutes in front of you and just take it from there.
One day at a time. Right
All
now.
right. We will
Yep.
talk soon.
Bye.
Bye.
If you enjoyed this episode today, be sure to subscribe and share because what do we say, baby?
Sharing is caring.